You grow up watching documentaries about a sleek, radar-evading flying wing crossing the globe without a trace, and you decide that is exactly what you want to do. But when assignment night finally arrives at pilot training, you don't get the invisible sci-fi jet. You get sent to Louisiana to fly a machine older than your parents. The B-52 Stratofortress is a brute force instrument. You're suddenly strapped into a 1950s-era cockpit, trying to manage 8 massive engines and a 185-foot wingspan. It is loud, heavy, and physically demanding to keep in the air. Nothing prepares you for the terror of aerial refueling. You have to wrestle that 185-foot wingspan into a position exactly 30 feet behind a KC-135 tanker. You're at 26,000 feet, matching speeds precisely, while wake turbulence bounces your colossal jet like a truck driving over a dirt road. You have to master sheer physical mass, extreme flight hours, and the absolute limits of your own nervous system before the Air Force trusts you with a stealth platform. You are humbled by the B-52 before you ever see a B-2. 4 years later, you upgrade to the left seat. You are now the aircraft commander. Every decision, weather diverts, emergency procedures, weapons employment, belongs entirely to you. You are responsible for a crew of 5, a 160,000-pound aircraft, and whatever payload is resting in the bomb bay. That payload dictates your deployments. You stage out of places like Diego Garcia, a tiny, isolated coral atoll in the Indian Ocean. From there, you fly 30-hour deterrence missions over the Pacific. You take off at midnight, refuel 4 times, and fly specific patterns to remind foreign governments that an American bomber can reach any coordinate on the globe at any hour. Around hour 22, with the autopilot humming and the rest of the crew resting, you find yourself alone at 45,000 feet. You eat a stale sandwich and think about the 40,000 pounds of ordnance beneath your feet. You do the mental math on the blast radius and the millions of people sleeping in the cities near those pre-programmed targets. The mechanical act of flying becomes secondary. The true test of a strategic bomber pilot is adapting to the weight that settles directly behind your sternum, the realization that you exist to hold the capacity for mass destruction, ready to deliver it the moment the order comes. After proving you can handle that weight, you apply for the B-2 program. The interview panel ignores your stick and rudder skills. The senior pilots evaluating you are looking for temperament. They need to know if you can maintain flawless judgment during weeks of extreme isolation and sleep deprivation. Looking at this schematic, you can see how strange the B-2 spirit actually is. Notice how a traditional jet relies on a tail and vertical stabilizers to fly straight. The B-2 eliminates all of that to reduce its radar signature. It is an aerodynamically unstable flying wing. Under normal physical laws, it wants to fall out of the sky. To stay airborne, the aircraft relies entirely on flight computers. These systems constantly adjust tiny control surfaces along the trailing edge of the wing. It doesn't so much fly as it glides, forced into a stable path by software. Yet for all its futuristic engineering, the B-2 is highly fragile on the ground. Before a single sortie, ground crews spend 40 hours inspecting the airframe. Even a fingernail-sized scratch on the stealth coating can compromise the radar-absorbent skin, turning a $2 billion ghost into a highly visible target on enemy radar. You aren't manhandling a yoke and throttle anymore. In the B-2, you manage the computers that manage the plane. You act as a systems operator, keeping an unstable, physics-defying shape alive in the upper atmosphere. Once you're mission ready, the physical demands stretch the limits of human biology. A standard deterrent sortie can last 30 to 40 uninterrupted hours. You are locked in a cockpit the size of a small car, breathing recycled air, battling severe sensory deprivation, and fighting a body that is desperately screaming for sleep. During these marathons, you have to refuel mid-air. The B-2 makes this exceptionally difficult because the fuel receptacle is located far behind the cockpit on that smooth upper surface. You fly blind under the tanker, relying entirely on instruments to hold perfect formation while thousands of pounds of fuel transfer. Around hour 18, fatigue begins to erode focus. Veteran instructor pilots learn to read this exhaustion like a cardiologist reads an EKG. They watch cross-checks slow, listen for delayed radio responses, or catch the slightest heading drift, because a mistake in this aircraft carries immediate geopolitical consequences. You take off from Missouri, cross 2 continents, and deliver precision munitions in a combat zone. You refuel 5 times, landing back in the Midwest 34 hours later. You drive home, pick your daughter up from school, and listen to her talk about a math test. 2 realities existing simultaneously, with neither acknowledging the other. You disappear for days and return smelling of cockpit chemicals. When your spouse asks what's wrong, you say nothing, because you can't legally discuss the nuclear yields or the target coordinates. The demands of the aircraft force a permanent wedge of silence between you and the people you love most. Years later, as a squadron commander, the physical exhaustion of flying is replaced by administrative and strategic burdens. You are now responsible for 19 stealth bombers and the crews who fly them, managing the only operational B-2 squadron in the United States Air Force. This specific unit's lineage traces straight back to 1944. Walking to your office, you pass photographs of Colonel Paul Tibbets. His composite group dropped the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That history isn't decorative. It's a daily reminder that your squadron holds the most consequential weapons in the American arsenal. When you brief politicians in classified sessions, you rely strictly on clinical language. You say infrastructure degradation and area denial. You use these abstractions intentionally because describing the actual thermal effects and blast radii plainly would make the conversation too horrifying to continue. By the time you reach senior command, the fleet you've given decades of your life to is preparing for retirement. The Air Force is transitioning to the B-21 Raider. It is a smaller airframe designed for a modern threat environment, but it carries the exact same apocalyptic capability loaded into its bomb bay. The young pilot stepping into the Raider will carry the same responsibilities you did. They just don't know it yet. For you, the physical grind of the cockpit has evolved into the inescapable mental weight of holding the president's nuclear codes. When you finally retire after 28 years, your medical charts tell a very specific story. You have permanent hearing loss from thousands of hours in pressurized cabins. You have severe circadian rhythm damage from decades of forcing your body to stay alert for 30 hours at a time. The retirement ceremony ends, and a career of global consequence is abruptly reduced to a few objects behind glass. You get silver pilot wings and a badge displaying the sequential number every B-2 pilot receives. But taking off the uniform doesn't erase what you know. When you feel a low vibration in your floorboards from a distant jet, you know exactly what is loaded in its bay. You know that somewhere over a dark ocean, right at this exact moment, a B-2 Spirit was airborne with its crew on full alert. The cost of global stability is measured in the silent, lifelong psychological burden carried by the few hundred people who act